What's all the PMS with Coach G? It's positively motivating sisters with purpose, meaning, style. Are you ready for positive conversations inspiring you to your next level? Do you need motivation to get you growing? Are you a sister, woman, leader, boss, mom, wife, female, her, she? I think you know what I mean. Are you seeking purpose in your life? Do you know the meaning for which you stand? Do you know your style is your unique authenticator? If you answered yes to any one of these questions, this podcast is designed with you in mind, which embodies the whole you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. Sisters, we are on a journey in connecting you from where you are to your what's next with purpose, meaning, style, and it all starts with you. Hi, this is Coach G. Think of me as your Chief P.M.S cheerleader, motivating and wanting to see you win in your personal and professional life. Your connector, guiding you and bridging the gap from where you are to your what's next. I am your growth coach, empowerment speaker, mom, wife, Christian, and I get to serve you in doing what I am passionate about. You. Sisters, we are on a journey for you living your life on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, meaning, style. Thank you for listening. I always start out with that. I never take that for granted. And so we have a special guest here today with us. I'm going to say this. I found this on her website and I love this quote. She believed she could, so she did. And that is one that I was like a mantra for me when I even started in my business. And so that's posted on her website, New Focus Family and Youth Consultant website, which is newfocusfyc.com. We are in episode 50 talking about passing the torch. It's not what you face, it's how you face it. And so again, my guest is Lontage D. Woods, a Cottonport, Louisiana native with over 20 years of experience working with children and families from diverse backgrounds as an educator and family and youth advocate. She is a certified life family educator and education specialist. Lataj is CEO of New Focus Family and Youth Consultant, where she stands with purpose and passion addressing issues that impact individuals of every age and stage of life. So, welcome, Lataj. Thank you for being here with me and our guests.
Thank you so much for that gracious introduction. And I see you did your homework. So the educator in me gives you an A.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And I'm so happy you're here. So I always said thank you for sharing this platform with me and, just taking the time to say, hey, I want to be a part of what you're doing, empowering other women on their journey. Every listener, I always say, we have men who listen too, but of course, predominantly our audience are women. And so let's talk about the torch, okay? We're talking about passing the torch, not that she's saying, okay, I'm moving on and here you go, but passing the torch in the sense of exchanging that what you know and what you learn and empowering and educating other families and youth, as you say. And so, can you just tell our listeners what torch means?
Definitely. Well, TORCH stands for Tackling Opposition with Resilience, Character, and Heart.
Okay. So when you say that, I mean, I'm sure each word has an impact for
Yes.
you and for what you stand for. So, can you kind of give us a little bit more of what that means? Because we hear the words, tackling opposition with resilience, character, and heart. I mean, all five words are very impactful in itself if we think of those words, right?
Yes, definitely.
So tell us, tell us about, when you talk about torch, what that means to you, what made you want to make this statement, to people
Okay.
who listen to you as you set that stage.
Okay. Well, the origin of Torch came from a potential speaking engagement that I wanted to do with a group of athletes. And of course, the Olympic torch was the motivation for that. And I just broke each letter down. I literally just scribbled it down on a piece of paper and just came up with the acronyms. So I'm an English teacher by trade. So I love words. I'm really big on wordplay. And it just started having a significance because, again, a lot of my speaking engagements are going to be geared towards empowering individuals, whether it's youth, sports teams, women, families, business owners, and each word definitely has a significant meaning to it. The first one, the T for tackling, we have to face some things. And a lot of times, a big part of us not being successful is that we don't want to face certain things. And then, of course, the opposition is evident in no matter what stage of life you're in, you're going to have opposition. And it's all about how you handle it and use it to make you grow and evolve. The resilient, that is one of the characteristics you have to show in order to hold up that torch. So everybody knows the origin of the Olympics. Whenever they would go to get the victory, they would stand on the platform with that torch. And the meaning behind that, it pretty much was the fire that was in them to achieve that victory. Now they're holding it up. And I love watching the Olympic ceremony. And that's how that whole thing just came about. And then, of course, character. Character is really important. Anytime you're facing opposition, your character is going to be tested. And as women, sometimes we have to take our emotions out of it and just kind of catch ourselves and not get in our feelings and just make sure we're always exhibiting top-notch character. And then the final letter H for heart. A lot of times, Coach G, we process things with our head, but it's really a heart matter. And when we get to the bottom of it, we have to check our heart. We have to check our position on how we really feel about things and what the deep issue is with the way that we're tackling certain oppositions. And when you put all those things together, it's a recipe for success. But each letter has to be taken care of individually and also with a sense of, I won't say urgency, but certain things just don't work themselves out. And in the end, you end up with a victory. And that looks different for all of us, but that's the ultimate goal.
Right. And I love the way you broke that down. And I like the fact that you said hard. I mean, each one of them, but I'm going to end with the hard part. We have to not lead with our head, but with our heart, even as leaders, even as business owners. I mean, in any position that you may stand in, a profession, or even as you educate, the youth. I'm sure that is something that is very impactful in a sense to say, okay, let's not, because we often do respond in the fact of, oh, I'm just going to tell you how I feel, instead of, wait a minute,
Exactly.
let me get
Mm-hmm.
myself in check. It's
Yeah.
like checking yourself. I like the fact, if you think about torch, it's like check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself in the part of, how are you tackling this? How are you how are you facing this opposition? Because like you said, it's going to come. There is no way around opposition. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
not.
Yeah.
And so then that part of, when you are faced with the opposition, you get that part of just building that resilience to stand and to continue, and putting yourself in position to do so. And then the character. Oh, you say your character will be tested
It
very
will.
often. It will be tested.
Tested, questioned, everything. Yes.
Yes. And so clearly, I hear, first of all, you said that educator in you, you like to, break it down, and then to break it down to be understood. And so with that, I know you're very passionate about educating, youth and families. You talk about even in that arena of, in sports or whatever, but, in how you lead with a torch mindset. I mean, that is what that is, really leading with a torch mindset. So, as you are passing the torch to empower others, what would you say is the most important in how we face opposition? I mean, if we really talk about that opposition, because sometimes I think that's what can make us say, I'm done, I quit, I'm not going to do this, I don't care what they say. I told them what I wanted to. I mean, we can go on and on with that list though, but what would be something you would say is the most important in how we face opposition?
I would have to say that would be the perception. And again, we process things in our mind, but we need to make sure that it's conveyed through our heart. And the perception of how we face opposition, where it's coming from, how does it play into our current situation, and also how to pretty much break it down to say that I will get through this, but at the same time, tackling it. Because, like I said, certain things will not just work themselves out. So, how are you perceiving that opposition? Is a big thing. And that's something as an educator and also as a youth advocate for so many years, I try to get young people to see it's not what you face again, but how you face it. It's not what you say, but how you say it. It's not what you said, but maybe the body language of how you said it. And you're a parent, and I'm sure you've probably gone through that with your child or children. And it's all about the perception you give off, and also the perception you want others to receive from what you're saying or your actions.
Yeah. And that perception is very, I mean, it's a standalone in itself as well. We perceive things differently, and we get, and because of sometimes how we perceive something, we may react, you
Mm-hmm.
know, instead of let me reflect before I react,
Definitely.
reflect on what did you really mean by that? Or I don't quite understand. Can you make
Mhm.
me understand what that really means? Like
Yeah.
taking a step back. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we often react in situations, but that part of that, perception and perceiving things is first realize we do hear, see things differently.
We
So
do.
right there, to find a common ground, we say, okay, let's find a common ground, and in order to do that, seek to understand each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Seek
it
to
also ties
understand.
into the character, because whenever you perceive something a certain way, it's gonna touch certain aspects of your character, maybe parts of your character that you thought you had kind of evolved and grown from. And it's also a measuring stick to say, okay, I still need to work on this area or areas, and it's all a work in progress. But at the end of the day, passing the torch is about empowering yourself first so that you can empower someone else. I truly believe that nothing we go through is for ourselves. It's to be able to literally tell someone else, I made it through this situation. You can too.
Yes. You say empower yourself and then empower others, which in turn I always say fill your cup up and then pour into others. But the
Definitely.
thing about it is that as you're passing that torch, we're rising together, we're winning together. The
Mhm.
victory is ours. It's like victory
Yes,
is
it is.
mine. No, victory is ours because
Definitely.
now I've given you some recipes for success. Just like you're talking about the torch, it's a recipe for success. I mean, it really is,
Mhm.
because you're saying you have to tackle some things in order to get to the next level because there will be opposition, and so now you have to build your resilience. So someone's going to test your character, test your character. Um,
Definitely.
and so I like the fact that, you said even earlier in our segment, you said it's not what you face, it's how you face it, and the way you broke it down. And of course, that's what we're talking about, passing the torch. It's not what you face, it's how you face it. The difference between what it is and how you deal with it, you know, what is coming before you and how you actually reflect on that thing. So, let's say this, what PMS tip would you pass on to our listeners in maximizing their life beyond what they see? Because we're talking about what they're facing.
Mhm.
I don't, I know what I see, but what would you say to someone when we talk about that recipe for success, when we're talking about maximizing your life, when you're talking about exchanging and perception, all of that, putting all that together, what would you say?
Okay. Well, first of all, I love the acronym PMS. I told you I'm big on words. So I've already come up with something, kind of give a little remix of what you have, Coach G. So the P is definitely perseverance.
Love it.
Quitting is not an option. You see that a lot on different hashtags and people posting that, but it definitely should be a lifestyle mantra for all of us that quitting is not an option. Each day that we're giving, it's another opportunity to get it right. The next thing for the M is to meditate. It goes back to that perception and that mindset. A lot of times when things happen and we're facing opposition, the reaction, but we need that think time. We need that minute to kind of really process and break down what it is. Number one, what does the opposition mean for your current situation? Will it affect other areas of your life based on how you handle it or how you choose to once again just avoidance? Because that's a big thing too. A lot of times we avoid things, and like I said, things do not just work themselves out. Certain things you can just say, okay, let me see what's going to happen. But for the most part, you definitely have to have a plan of action. And then the S is for stay the course. You stay the course, you stay at it. You have a good group of people around you that can either pray you through it or talk you through it or just be that listening ear. And again, you're going to be successful. That problem is going to be something that you'll be able to say, I overcame it. And again, pass it on to someone else. And that's in any area of life.
And and what you just said, in any area, I always say when we're faced with challenges or obstacles or opposition, sometimes we want to go around it,
Mm-hmm.
or find a way out of it.
Yes.
But the best recipe for success in your life is to just go through it,
Good. Yeah.
because you come out stronger, you come out with the victory.
Mm-hmm.
You may have not liked some things, the way things transpired or the things that happened, but you come out better than you were before. Maybe that's in grow, I've grown,
Mm-hmm.
through this. Oh man, I was strengthened through that. Oh, that makes me stand bold, more bold in, in my area
Yes.
of life now.
Yes. Mhm.
And I'm sure we can speak from experience in that. So I thank you for sharing that, not one but PMS from that, that perseverance mindset and stay the course, which are all very vital as we continue our journey, as we're passing the torch to the next generation,
Mhm.
as we're passing that information to that next young, youth. And I'm sure that's something that you get the opportunity to do every day, in what you do and in as you being as CEO of New Focus Family and Youth Consultant. So, anything you want to share with our listeners? Of course, there will be ways for you to connect with Lataj, and we'll share that. And of course, that'll be in the show description. But anything else you want to share with our listeners, before we close out?
Yes, I just want to encourage the listeners, whether it's women or men or whatever age or stage they are in life, that the torch movement, again, it's not just a message, it's a movement. And when you think about something being a movement, it's fluid. So there's going to be days, because there's days when I don't want to have that torch mentality. But in the back of my mind, as I said earlier, you have to stay the course.
Yeah.
So I just want to be able to encourage them, and that's what New Focus is all about: empowering other individuals to be the best they can be so they can enhance someone else. And I think that's something, Coach G, that this society is severely missing. And because I have such a passion for youth empowerment, I think we have to set examples as adults, as parents, as educators, as just good citizens, so that we can let our young people know that, again, we've gone through some things, but we've been able to persevere. And it makes us more relatable to them. And it lets them know that despite everything they're facing in this society now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what New Focus Family and Youth Consultant is about. And that's what this torch movement is about, is empowering individuals to be the best they can be so that society can be a better place. And it starts with one person at a time. It's a movement. So it has to be fluid, and it has to be something that people can grasp and see their role in it, no matter how big or how small. It's something we all can do to make each other's lives better.
Well, thank you, Lataj, for your passion,
Yes.
for empowering us, for pouring into us what that means, and even not so much of, like you say, yes, it is what it is that statement, but it's more than that. It's a movement, and in a movement, it takes one person at a time.
Yes.
And so thank you for starting New Focus Family and Youth Consultant. Thank you for taking that first step and reaching and saying, I'm making a move. And as you make that move and you touch someone, someone else is touching someone. So it continues to grow, it continues to move. And you know what? It continues to outlive you. And that is a part of a legacy and a movement. You know, it's something that's bigger than you. And so thank you for again for your heart and your passion and what you do. And I just hope and pray for continued success. And as you continue to empower, you know, families and youth and whoever touch and cross your path.
Mhm.
And again, if you want to please connect with Lataj, you can do so on Instagram and Facebook at New Focus FYC 22. Again, that's in the show description. You can go to her website, which is newfocusfyc.com, and go ahead and connect. Or maybe you're that parent with that youth, or maybe it's something that you need to know more of and see what those services, see what that is that she offers, and or just connect and see how we can help one another and support one another as we all continue this journey to continue to move and make movements in our life. And so thank you so much, Lataj. Thank you. This has been very um, informational, I'm going to say, in a sense of what you shared to allow um, a transition for someone in their thought process of, okay, like you said, sometimes I don't feel like having a torch mentality. Sometimes.
Mhm.
But you know what? But you said, stay the course. And so, whatever you do, stay the course. If you're getting off track, reach out. Reach out. Even when they're passing in touch, what are you doing? You're reaching, and someone
Exactly.
hasn't to, you have to reach back. So,
Mhm.
reach out, reach back, reach forward. But the thing is let's just continue to move. And move is connecting and growing. And in saying all of that, please, in the meantime, let's share this with other sisters, share this with other families, share this with other youth, and continue to comment, subscribe, and rate the podcast. And in saying all of that, until next time, sisters, let's keep growing because it all starts with you.